So there's no doubt that giant human beings existed in our not so distant past. The remnants of that humanity, some of it is still here with us today. There's some people that are 7.5 feet tall, and they don't suffer from acromegaly. And acromegaly is a disorder of your hormones, where your body produces too much growth hormone and it causes deformations and abnormal growth. If you take a look at some of these old pictures, even if you take a look at a person today that's over 7 feet tall, and it doesn't suffer from any deformities, you know this is a clear indication that their bloodline is different, that they are descendants of the giants from the past, most likely. Again, just take a look at some of these pictures and you'll see that these people look just like you and I, except obviously they're a lot taller. But like I said, they don't look like they suffer from this disorder that causes these deformations. I'll include a picture of what acromegaly looks like, and you can compare and contrast between the two. So the question that I get when I take a look at these pictures of these giant people is, obviously, why are they so different from us, and why are we so much shorter than they are? Again, it's most likely because they come from a different bloodline. Their descendants are different. And again, if you don't believe in giants, I mean, it doesn't take a lot of research to come to the conclusion that there was obviously a different humanity than the one we currently know. Giant people existed, 7, 8, maybe even 10 feet tall. The evidence is just overwhelming. Giant doorways, giant weapons, giant architectural feats, things that wouldn't make sense for our humanity to have built. So the question again is, where did these people go, and what happened to them? Why is it that we are so much different today compared to those people of the past? And like I said before in many of my videos, truth is shown to us right in our faces. And the reason why, again, I go back to the same video that I keep mentioning. Look up the video X Factor winner reveals world's secret religion here on YouTube. If you can't find it, go on another video platform. The guy, basically a quick rundown, he was a winner of the X Factor in Australia. He got into the music industry, and the stuff that he was exposed to in that industry just opened his eyes. And he talks about that industry in general, and how other media, movies, television, you name it, is infiltrated and is being used to basically brainwash people, and how throughout these sorts of media, truth is shown to our faces, and the reason why it's shown to us. So again, if you want an answer to that, go watch that video. And again, I just find it really interesting how in TV shows and even movies, this topic and other topics as well, shows up. Take, for example, One Piece. And the manga One Piece, there are different sizes of human beings, right? Not everybody is the same. There are giants, titans even. So that's just one example. Again, in Game of Thrones, there's giants in Game of Thrones. You even start thinking about whether, old stories and, children's tales like Jack and the Beanstalk, if it's just fantasy or if it was actually, based on reality. And you take a look at some of these pictures of mountains, right, quote unquote, and how they seem to have human features, right? Faces, giant hands. And you can say it's just coincidence, but is it really? When does it stop being a coincidence? Obviously, coincidences happen, and they pop up here and there, but most of the time there is something behind it, right? It rarely ever is a coincidence. And what's the probability of all these structures, of all these mountains just randomly having human features, right? And again, if you do a little bit of digging, you start finding out that bones, like, the evidence is just insurmountable. of bones, giant weapons existing. So you know, it's not out of the, you know, out of reality to suggest that, you know, these mountains, that these hills were actually titans, and you know, they somehow turned into stone. Or you know, it just makes you think of how and why. And again, there's a parallel again if you take a look at the show Dr. Stone, again another manga where basically everybody's turned into stone after, you know, some sort of cataclysm occurs. Everybody turns into stone and humanity has to start over from scratch. And you know, you take a look at some of these pictures, and you know, of these giant beings, you know, being stone. And you know, there's this parallel between, you know, this show and reality. So again, you start thinking if art is imitating life. So the reasons as to why, you know, that humanity of the past is so different from us, you know, why they are so much taller from us. I've heard a lot of theories as to why this is the case. One of them is that obviously their DNA is different from ours. They are descendants of a different humanity, that our current humanity, our DNA was tampered with and changed. Why? To make it easier, you know, for us to be controlled. That's one of the theories that I've heard. Another theory that I heard is that the giant trees of the past were cut down, and I have a video of that in my channel if you haven't looked at it. You know, these ginormous trees, evidence of them existing again is it's out there, and that they were cut down, and so therefore the oxygen levels, you know, in the earth went down. So obviously if there's not you know, if the oxygen levels in the earth went down, then the growth process, you know, is not going to be, you know, to the level that it would be if, you know, those trees and that oxygen were around. So that's another theory that I've heard. And again, another theory is that our DNA, you know, is different, that we are descendants of a different bloodline, that those giant people of the past, they're descendants of, you know, the fallen angels and human women, the human women, you know, that they are their offspring. So if you read the book of Enoch and even the Bible, it mentions how fallen angels, you know, came down from heaven. They were cast down from heaven and they had relations with human women, and that the offspring of those angels and those women were the giant people of old times, right? So if you haven't read the book of Enoch and the Bible, I highly recommend them. So I just find this topic really interesting, and you know, like I said, it just takes a little bit of digging to come to this conclusion that giants existed in the past and that even titans existed in our not so distant past. So if you made it this far in the video, I thank you for listening. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I just cover topics like this that pique my interest, that I, you know, find fascinating. So if you consider yourself an open-minded person and can handle information without getting triggered, this channel is perfect for you. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in the next one.